This is the call to order of the Airport Advisory Committee hybrid meeting. Thank you for being here in person and online for Tuesday, November 8th, 2022. First thing I'd like to do is say the pledge of allegiance. I'm going to join you.
Everybody begins to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if I didn't ask you to go sit down. Actually, go ahead. Too late. Jorge and I thought it might be nice to hold a moment of silence for Andre Green, direction of the accident on Saturday. So, without further ado, let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tom Reed, I'm the chair. And I don't know what that means. In the old days, food would be served on a board, and the only guy that got to sit on the chair was the head of the household. Everybody else had to sit on the door. And the chair means you're the guy that gets to eat the food from the chair.
We're gonna have to start sitting on the board in the next meeting.
Yeah, maybe courtesy of what's called the house.
Where's the food?
Yeah, there's it here. I need it. Let's call roll. I'm Tom Reed, Mike Ogilvy here. Thank you, Buzz Gibbs.
Here,
Yes, virtually, yes, thank you.
yes,
Lisa's not here. Gary List. Here. Thank you, Gary. Chuck McGill.
Here.
Thank you, Jim Aldridge. Here. Thank you, Jim. Ron Lee.
Here.
Thank you. I see Rich Martindale.
Here.
Thank you, Dave Gordon. Here. Thank you, Tom Todd.
Here.
Right there. Richard Ron. Our new guy, Richard Ron. Sure. What's that? Oh, okay, there's the chair, so he may be. Okay. As always, I apologize, but I have to read it from the script, make sure that we get it all right for lawyers. Also attending the meeting is Jorge Rubio, Director of Airport Management, and members of the staff. If you are in person, please complete a speaker slip located at the entrance of the southwest entrance like provided for Mr. Reed, in a timely manner to ensure proper meeting management. In-person testimony will conclude before virtual testimony begins. Members of the public can also join the webinar by computer, tablet, or smartphone by accessing the link which is listed online in the preamble language of the agenda. You participate by telephone, dial 1-669-254-5252, webinar ID 160-485-9941 pound. This is also available on the agenda. Please note that if you're watching via online, there may be a delay. So you participate via the audio on your phone and use your computer when it's your turn to speak. If you wish to speak on a particular item, wait for that item to call and then raise your hand to speak by tapping the raise your hand icon, or if you are a common participant, *9 on your cell phone or landline. Raise your hand during the non-common period, your hand will be lowered. Careful. A quorum is now present. Item number 3 on the agenda is non-agenda public comment. We will now take up non-agenda public comment. The public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to comment on items that are not on the agenda, but within the subject matter. Do you have any non-agenda? Oh, wait, a little more legal here, I'm sorry. The jurisdiction of the committee, each speaker will have 3 minutes. The public comment period for non-agenda public comment is now open. You have submitted a speaker card, your name will be called in the order that was submitted. You have already joined the Zoom webinar online by phone. Please raise your hand to speak, and then we'll be called when ready.
Do not have any public comment online.
Okay. So we don't have anybody in the queue. Are there anybody in person that would like to speak? Moving right along. Item number 4 is the approval of minutes for October 11, 2022. I had one very small correction. One is that there are 2 Mr. Reeds in the room. He's the ED on the ID on the chair. If it says chair Reed, it has to have an I. That's not the only correction I saw. Okay. Anybody else have any corrections? That's right. Okay. So no other corrections. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the meetings with the stated correction? Moved by Mr. McGill, seconded. So over here, David, second by David Gordon. All okay. We're going to do a buzz online, but everybody else is in person, right?
Yes, and Lisa Golden has now joined us.
Has now joined us virtually. Excellent. Okay, so let's take a show of hands. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Did the person taking the minutes get that record? Okay, and then Buzz Gibbs
Abstain. I wasn't there.
and Lisa
I abstain.
abstain, 2 abstentions. Okay.
Mark Joe abstains.
And what?
I abstain.
Oh, 3 abstentions. Thank you. I should have asked for abstentions. Oh, Richard. Welcome. Okay. Oh. We just approved the minutes the last time, and I'll give you an opportunity to vote if you would like to on approving the minutes. Have you been sworn in?
I was one.
All right. So you may vote yay, nay, or abstain.
Yay.
Yay, so people, thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, we have, item number 5 is unfinished business. There any items of unfinished business? No, there are no items from unfinished business. We will move to item number 6, new business. Are there any items for new business?
No, Mr. Chair, we don't have any.
I kind of like this. Here. Once in a while. Are there any items? No, moving right along. Number 7, informational items. We'll now move into discussion items. These do not require a vote. Director review. Let's go to item 7A, status of aircraft wash rack at Montgomery Business Airport.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're bringing this item to you because your budget request that we provided. David Reed is going to be providing us with the slides, and I'll be talking about it. But to provide you with some background, we have about 450 based aircraft at Montgomery Gibbs that need to be washed and are properly washed throughout the airport. These aircraft are within the majority of the leaseholds that we have, Coast and Crown Air. Some of them are in private hangars and some of them are in city-owned hangars. So at the moment, some of the owners, they wash the aircraft, but a lot of them actually hire services to wash them. What I understand is that the aircraft washing right now complies with the stormwater permit regulations. So we as the city, we have a stormwater permit. We're part of a group throughout California, and Charlie is in charge of monitoring that. So it's my understanding that everybody, when they wash the aircraft, it is far away from storm drains, so the water doesn't reach the storm drain. So there is no designated location for aircraft washing on the field. And obviously, this group, along with the tenants and the city, we have a desire to have a self-service aircraft wash rack at the airport. In regards to the current status of wash rack, again, we don't have one, but our airport layout plan that was approved in 2019, it does have a location in mind. Actually, David, if you don't mind just going forward and backwards again, but and the proposed aircraft wash location in the airport layout plan is just the east corner where MYF Properties has the leasehold. I forget what you call that area, Charlie.
Near Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. Yes,
Yeah.
no, Sleepy Hollow. Okay, thank you. So the ALP calls that the time frame for building a wash rack is between 6 to 10 years. So the prior administration, before I came on board, they actually tried to get a wash rack installed through the lessees. And through the Coast Flight Air Center lease, there was a location where it could potentially happen. But it was depending as to how much improvements they're going to do and what the plans were going to be for their development. Obviously, Coast Flight is fully developed. The area that was proposed at that time was actually close to the taxiway on the west end, where the land that we talked about last time. environmental land is, and it couldn't be developed there anyway. So Coast Flight is not developing it. The lease obligations having met, and they're not going to be building a wash rack. MYF Properties, however, and just so you know, I did talk to the new president about this. It is located within the development plan phase 2, which is to be developed within 5 years of lease commencement. So when you talk about the lease commencement, that's May 27 of 2026, when they're going to be supposedly done with the wash rack. And I spoke with Ray with Properties, and he told me that is on track. That's the update that I can provide to you today. As far as the city, we would love to do it, but we don't necessarily have a perfect spot right now. And even if we wanted to do it, it would probably take us a similar amount of time. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
David, do we have any virtual public comment or questions on this?
None from our attendees.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions about the waterfront? All righty.
Oh, Buzz has his hand raised. Buzz.
Oh, yeah.
Rubio, you said that there's a new president of MIF Properties. Is that not Ray Richmond?
That is Ray Richmond.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
After the
Okay.
previous one left, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was just curious since we know that. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let's go with item 7B, staff reports. Director Rubio, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just shuffling through my paperwork real quick. I wanted to start by thanking you for the moment of silence for one of our aircraft users that perished on Saturday. It was a really hard time for everyone. Staff responded. It was a proper response. The fire department responded within a few minutes as well. And unfortunately, obviously, the occupant did not survive. The NTSB is moving through the investigation, and we are waiting to see what the outcome of that investigation is. Just wanted to provide you with that real quick. Have any comments on that?
May I ask a question? And if it's okay, if this is out of bounds, you're going to respond, but do you know, did the aircraft in question actually touch down the runway, or did it ever touch the runway?
I don't speculate, but based on some footage that I've seen, it didn't touch down the runway. It did, as far as I know. Thank you. Okay, moving on. So staff here has been really busy preparing for many airfield projects, including the ramp by Spiders, our main parking lot out here, and the tank for unleaded gasoline. So those are some of the things that we're working on, and it takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of environmental work, it takes a lot of budget adjustments, I would say. So we're working on that as we speak. Staff is also working on preparing multiple lease adjustments, lease amendments. Debbie and Thurman here, I can tell you they're busy doing that as well. And obviously operations are ready to respond with the limited resources that we have to any type of airfield situation. In regards to the projects that we're working on, we are planning for the next 5-year projects that we will be doing at the airports. So we have an airport capital improvement program that we can share with you at the next meeting. But we are going to be traveling to LA next week to meet with the airport district office from the FAA to talk about funding opportunities and the input needs that we have. So once we come back from that, we will have a better idea as to what the near-term and long-term projects are going to be. We do have some of them in mind, but again, we have a wish list, and they're the ones that are going to tell us, hey, this is what we can pay for, this is what you have to wait for a little longer. And I can tell you, David, along with the city team, they've been doing a lot of work trying to figure out how are we going to be moving projects along without trying to touch our reserves too much. When I got here, I noticed that there were projects that were happening, but a lot of funding was coming out of the Airports Enterprise Fund for those projects. And we're trying to make life easier so that we actually don't have to be spending so much money on those. But something that always comes to mind is the, moving away from that, is the tank for the unleaded fuel. We are under preliminary design on that. And speaking about unleaded fuel, the EPA hosted a virtual public hearing regarding the finding on November 1st. There were a lot of people that were there, agency representatives, and the representatives from the aviation industry and Eagle were basically saying that everybody supports transitioning, but we support transitioning safely. And that was the message that was conveyed to the EPA. So we'll see what happens now. The other item that I want to talk to you about is we are looking at reviewing the long-term hangar lease agreement and potentially providing another option, term option. It will take a few months, I'll tell you that, but we are beginning to look into that, and when we're ready to at least have the base for it, we'll bring it back and we will have this value review. Thank you. And for input, obviously. We don't do it one-sided. The other item is the FAA tower parking lot is being rehabilitated with new funding as we speak. So Charlie and actually this whole team over here has been working, trying to go over there and figuring out that they're doing it well. So I think the FAA provided about $19,000, Charlie, from this funding.
Yeah.
For them to do that. That's happening at the moment.
Base of the tower.
Yeah, it's on the base of the tower, that parking lot.
So the other item that I have for you is just a reminder that in December we do not have a meeting. So the next meeting in January, second Monday in January. I can actually provide the date.
Tuesday the 10th.
Right, it is the second Tuesday, January, that's what it is, at 3 p.m. And that's all I have for now. Happy to answer any questions. Staff is going to be covering more items, and if you don't have any questions for me, I'll just turn it over to somebody else. Any questions for me? No? Okay, so let's go with Thurman.
Good afternoon, AAC committee members.
Good to see you.
I'm going to give you a little update project. Thank you. We completed painting of the retail center at 8690 Arrow Drive. That was one of the three projects, work that we were doing there. We also completed the assignment of the Metropolitan Airport leases to the new entity, San Diego Airport. And we've also issued right of entry for the mitigation costs to the north. Staff has completed a MOU with the Transportation Department to lease approximately 6,000 square feet of space and 8575 buildings. We also have the right to lease an additional 3,000 square feet of space. We also completed an MOU with the San Diego Police Department for 2 warehouses at Brownfield for storage. Projects that we have in progress include, we're working with the city attorney's office to get possession of the Aubrey leasehold at Brownfield. Staff is continuing to work with the city attorney's office regarding the hotel 4.5 Sheraton to reach a settlement. Corporate Health Office has submitted a preliminary plan, or submitted its preliminary plan to DSC and to airport. And we're working with them on those preliminary plans. And I'm scheduling meetings with the FAA on expanding the deeper plan. We awarded a contract to prepare a significant portion of the route at 8690 Arrow Drive. The work is expected to commence shortly after Thanksgiving. Staff has also awarded a contract to replace the signage for the existing 10 tenants we have at that retail center. We are preparing a request for quote for services for a property management company to help us manage the retail buildings and the office buildings. We're also drafting a lease for San Diego Community College District while we're waiting on the appraisal. College District will make improvements to the property, including exterior painting, providing asphalt in front of their hangar, and if necessary, replacing the roof. Staff is reviewing a memorandum of agreement between the city and the Customs and Border Protection for permanent facilities at Brownfield Airport for them to continue with inspection operations. Staff has ordered appraisals for new leases at the former MRT for the Customs and Border Patrol protection hangar at Brownfield, as well as the San Diego Community College District lease, as well as 8525 Gibbs Drive, 8690 Arrow. We'll be looking to use those leases with those retail tenants in that retail sector. Staff is also working on additional memorandums of understanding with additional city departments that take space in 3 office buildings, including DSD, transportation, and engineering and capital projects. Staff is working on, as we mentioned before, the renewal of the leases for the retail tenants that are there. And we're also working on agreements to continue occupancy of the 2 office buildings at 8525 Field Drive and 8665 Field Drive with those customers. There are currently 4 tile and 1 hangar available on city lot A. And we're also scheduling interviews for the vacant property agent position. That's what we have. We're happy to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
Chairman, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
And I have a question about the property management company that you're engaged to help with the
Okay.
leasehold.
Right.
Is there any chance that that property management company would be able to handle the hangars? For the collection of-
No, we're not looking for them to take any of the airport responsibility. We spend a great deal of time with maintenance, contracting for services, and things like that at the office of retail buildings that we believe can more efficiently be handled by a separate property.
I agree with that. I have it on good authority that there are challenges in billing for the hangars. Trying to keep one of my favorite employees from jumping out the window.
Well, once we free that famous employee of those obligations that office building, we'll be able to handle those things, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I just want to say I would be very happy to help in any way that I can. If there's going to be implementation of rent collection software and anything like that, that would make it easier for collecting rents and for the tenants to pay the rents. Yeah. Always make it easy.
Mr. Gordon, yes, sir.
Yeah, one of the things in your report, I'm a police department sales, rent 6,000 square feet.
Not the police.
Oh,
That was transportation.
okay, so transportation is gonna rent 6,000 square feet for storage at Brownfield.
No. The police department is renting warehouse space at Brownfield.
That's what I was, yeah,
Okay, they've already rented.
okay. Is that for aviation use? Or
No.
I don't know if this is germane, maybe you guys already run this through. Several years ago, I don't think anybody in the airport staff, or the real estate department was here then. but the airport and the city got in trouble because they rented out storage space at Brownfield to a company to store vehicles. And the FAA came down and said, no, you can't do that. It caused a lawsuit, and in the end, what it cost, all the lawsuit settlement came out of airport funds.
Okay.
I don't care if it comes out of general fund, but I'm just worried that could this get us a similar problem with the
Yes, Mr. Gordon, I can answer that. So during the process for the Metropolitan Airport build out, we had to get releases of land from the FAA, from aviation to non-aviation. So this portion that they're renting falls actually under non-aviation land that is approved by the FAA already.
Okay.
And it is a short-term agreement that we can cancel at 90 days office, 90-day notice. So shouldn't experience any issue like that. Okay, thank you, time.
Hey, Debbie, does the person who wants to rent one of these tie downs or hangar see you?
Yeah, I have a list of like 143 people.
Oh.
I have to send out 10
Sure.
emails at a time. Wait till each of them to respond, and we'll send out another 10. I don't have to do all that quick. But everybody wants a hanger, they don't really want a title. I have a few.
Let's go.
Are you going to allow people to get a tie down to put a hanger on?
Well, the only tie downs we have are right here up on the fence, and then the ones back in, I call it lot 8A, but now it's called City Canyons West. It's Frank Curry's old spot.
That's where the
That's a question for, no, there's 5 tie downs there.
Oh, the ones in front of Advanced Air.
Okay, those are Flat Top West, and they're on Charlie's list. You have to pay, to be on those. That's a discussion with the director and the airport manager.
Okay,
But because I'm not sure about that.
okay, thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Let's go with Charlie. Airport manager for Ocean Ships.
Good afternoon, everyone. There were over 26,000 operations in October. Jerry Magner was hired to fill the vacant utility worker 2 position at NYF. Jerry has experience working for the BLM, US Forestry Service, and CAL FIRE. So, and we're working on filling one of the vacant operations positions here at airport operations assistant positions here at Montgomery, and there's also some other positions at Brownfield that Andy can fill us in about. We're working with San Diego Fire Department, Station 28 and Station 39, just to go over emergency procedures, airport familiarization, and probably setting up some drills in the near future. We're working on installing some kiosks for transient aircraft payments and also vehicle payments at Montgomery and Brownfield. And there should be an app with that as well. We're working out on all the details, but there'll be a way to pay via app and also via kiosk for those payments. We hope to roll that out near the 1st of December. There were some temporary asphalt repairs done on Taxiway Hotel, and we're also working on doing some other asphalt repairs as soon as possible.
Like Miracle?
Like Marigold and the other areas that are needed.
Excellent.
We received a quote from Statewide Stripes to add numbered location markings, just right short of the movement area, and that will help the tower to identify where the aircraft is on the apron on the non-movement area to move into the movement area. So there'll be one starting at Taxiway Bravo, and then there'll be 6 of those position markings to help the tower identify where those aircraft are on the ramp. And also they can call in closer to the non-movement boundary line, so there's not a lag time between them calling, like if they're way back by the very far hangar row or back by the fence line. It would make things more efficient that way. I'm also getting, with that, there's some quotes for a vehicle service road on the transient ramp. to designate where the vehicles go and where the airplane should go. Also refreshing the non-movement area boundary marking in that location on the transient ramp. And then also I was looking into getting a service painted taxiway marking for Echo, but it turns out that that's not allowed in that specific area where the pole position markings are there. It's considered still on a runway, so the advisory circular says that you're not allowed to have that service painted marking there, so we're looking into some other alternative markings to identify that more clearly. And that's pretty much it. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Go ahead.
Since I got delayed number 8 because of this problem, I can ask you about the 2 gates I use most every time I come to work were both broken. This happens at 1 or more gates every single time. Is there something maybe in the short term to fix these 2 gates? You have to go get permission from downtown to do that again. And then long term, is there some plan that the airport has to resolve this once and for all, fix the gates to where they don't keep breaking every time they do the drizzle?
Right, that's been kind of an issue when it rains, the photo eyes. They'll get moisture and condensation on them, so airport operations has been going around today to clear off the moisture on the sensors, and that helps them to close. It can usually be resolved just as simple as that. So we're looking into that. I have had automated gate services come by and assess all the gates, and it's very hard to determine which ones will fail in the rain. But that's something we can look into and try to mitigate for that issue. But we do get on it as soon as we can when it rains, when there's a gate not functioning. And it usually is something as simple as the track gets very slick where the wheel runs on the bottom rail of the gate, where the sensors are malfunctioning because there's the rainwater or condensation on them.
So I presume now by gate 8, which comes from both sides. You're aware of the gate 5 over Executive Air Park. It's half open, so there's no security. But you can't, it's not open far enough for a car to get through, so it's not functional for the airport users.
Yeah, gate 8, 5, and 10 have been having an issue today. So we'll see how we can handle those as soon as possible. Operations has already been out there to try to fix them as soon as they can. If there's something they can fix right on the spot, or we have a ongoing relationship with automated gate services. We can open up a purchase order to have them come and fix those gates.
So you don't
as
have to
needed.
go ask downtown.
We just have to open a purchase order at this point.
I know at one time you were in trouble.
Yeah, they've allowed us to use a gate contractor that is vetted through the city and has the proper insurance and credentials to work on those gates.
To that end, Charlie. Today I reported 2 gates out of service within 15 minutes. Officer was there to check on them.
Perfect. Yeah,
It's not gonna get better than
You can fix them.
that. I don't know, I haven't tried to go back through it. The point is they went there and we're.
No, I'm not unhappy with whoever built these gates.
Just need to tell them and they responded.
Okay.
They responded very quickly.
Charlie, just before I went from Kilo to Crown Air, and I was driving my car, and I thought, which side of these helicopters should I be on? You know, that striping over there will help a lot.
Yeah.
I see people going, you know, all around. So that's a great idea.
all right. Thank you.
Okay.
So before we leave Charlie, he also was able to get us 2 new vending machines behind him. So those just arrived probably an hour ago. So we'll check them out.
Does the airport get us a percentage of the profit?
Only if you buy it. Okay, so moving on to Andy, the airport manager for Brownfield.
Good afternoon. So our operations are down currently about 10%, so we have 2 more months left in the year here, so we project to probably do, we'll be about down to 10% from last year, which is about 90,000 hops for the year. I don't know where to start. I'm thinking maybe we should start with gates first, because it seems to be gate day. We do have the gate down. All these gates, they're all very similar. They are very good gates. When we purchase these gates, we ask for the very best we can find. They're commercial gates. Unfortunately, we can't control some of the things that happen with these gates, which a lot of times vandalism, people running up on them, people get stuck in the middle of them. So we do the best we can. Fortunately, working under the city umbrella, sometimes it does take a little bit of time to get these things repaired. We have a lot of paperwork we have to do to make that happen. So we do it as fast as we can. Try to keep this up and going. With that being said, we have gate number, gate number 4 is down for us. We remedied that with closed down gate 4. We've got that services the east side of the field. So we have users down at EA and the tower are using gate 4. Also, we have made prior arrangements to finally get the phone operator mechanism fixed at gate 1. So we get that put in as well at gate 1. That's actually costing quite a substantial amount of money. Part of the problem with that is, like I said, these are commercial operators, but they do see the effects of water and such. And that's what happened with this gate phone. It's just over time, it's just gateway. So we're getting a new gate phone out there. Charlie mentioned some hiring opportunities we're having, also having some staffing challenges. Last month, I failed to mention we had employed by the Eli Barber, who was for about a month or a year and a half, I'm sorry, who recently departed us for other opportunities outside of San Diego. So he left us. And then next week, we will have another employee leaving us. He is Jose Castillo. Me and him came into operations at the same time 15 years ago. He was my senior, so I will be losing him. And that's a very vast amount of just experience that I'll be losing. So that's not something that's always so easily replaced, but we'll be losing him. So I'll be down to basically one operations person that we recently hired about 4 months ago, and I'll have a gym at 2. We've got we've got it out to put it online to for 2 ops positions. We'll be get that out by November 11th now. So we'll be hiring for at least 2 operations positions. Jorge was able to get us another GMW2, so we're waiting to get that one online as well. So we can hire another GMW2. Also short a heavy equipment operator who went down. So we actually understaffed quite a few positions, but we're still holding steady. So we've got that going on. Hawthorne came out last month to do our annual inspection for the generator. This is something we do annually. It's the generator that backs up all our air body in the event the electricity goes down from the street. So we got that done this year. We got it done early. That's all I have. Any questions?
I have a question. It's just more of curiosity. Pardon my ignorance on this, but I was looking at the office operations revenue for any fees, the difference between Montgomery and Brownfield. And Brownfield seems to be 3 to 4 times that of Montgomery. It just made sense to me that Montgomery has so many more flight operations that the revenue there would be higher. And I'm curious if something you just tell me how that is.
Sure. So typically that has to do with the weight of the aircraft, because aircraft are paying for every 1,000 pounds that they land. So for general aviation aircraft that are small, meaning if you have like a Cessna 172, you're not paying a landing fee because you don't put too much stress on the runway. You don't put too much stress on the facilities. But at Brownfield, you have G650s, Boeing business jets, all of those large jets. They take fuel, but they also pay landing fees. And this last time we did change it a little bit because what was happening is only commercial operators were paying, but the stress on the runway is the same from all large operators. So we made that change. That was approved through the city, and that's why you see now increase in revenue for that.
Do the F-18s pay Atlantic?
Sorry,
Do the F-18s pay Atlantic?
No military.
they give us the airport, so.
Thanks for explaining that. Good for brownfield generators.
That was my question.
And that, I don't have any.
Staff reports finished. Thank you very much. Alrighty, we are going to skip air traffic control. I don't need anybody here from air traffic control. But once again, I like to go on record saying those guys are just as good as it gets. If you ever just sat and listened to the radio on a busy Saturday, you probably have how many aircraft they deal with all at once. It's incredible. So we are now down to committee comments. Does anybody have a committee comment? Well, that brings us to the magical part of the meeting, right? Ready? We are adjourned.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
21 minutes.
Now we're good. We'll run through. Right here.